Directional drafting is a mental model that can be used for team compositions to get a better understanding of how they're supposed to play and can serve as the foundation for intuitive and consistent drafts on the fly. Hey everyone, and welcome to the Draft Fundamentals series where I explain different concepts relating to drafting in League of Legends, hopefully explaining some of the decisions that are made at the highest levels of play. If you enjoy this video, please subscribe for more content like this. On to today's topic, directional drafting. Drafting in League of Legends is a deceptively complicated concept, but a great mental model to use to help guide basic team compositions is to understand the direction in which your team wants to play the game, and how you can both alter your own picks and counter the enemies in a way that allows you to complement this style. This is something that many teams think about as one of the factors to a solid draft, and thinking about this helps you ensure that you have compositions of champions designed to do what they are meant to as well, and to not have conflicting team comp identities. On its most basic level, directional drafting is a fairly easy concept to understand. Whenever you design a team composition in League of Legends, there is a certain direction that your team wants to play the game. You may be familiar with some of these comps as well, just repackaged and phrased in terms different than what you may be used to, such as backline dive comps. Generally speaking, team compositions in League want to either play forwards or backwards, which means that most of the time, your comp wants to play in one direction or the other. These terms indicate the way your champions want to move in terms of how they teamfight. Forward comps generally include things like backline dive comps, meaning that these champs thrive best in situations where they want to go in. On the other hand, backwards comps would rather actually allow the enemy to go in and to make the most out of it with either a strong formation or a strong counter to what the enemy comp has in store for them. Depending on the meta, the players you're using, and important champions relating to a draft, all of these factors can mix up and alter the priorities of different champions and different comps into a draft. This concept can be further broken down beyond just the compositions, but also into the champions themselves. As much as team compositions can have directions, different champions have different directions they like to play. Champions like Kai'Sa or Yone love playing forward, whereas a champion like Janna would love to play backwards. Many champions also don't really have a preference and can be played forwards or backwards. Although technically you can play any champion in any way you want, understanding the direction each champion in the game generally wants to play the game is a great way to understand each champion's identity and how we can tie these together to draft cohesive team comps. For example, you generally want all your champions to specialize in playing in a certain direction. Although Kai'Sa can definitely deal damage as a front-to-back champion, if in the draft you know you want a champion that can specialize in front-to-back, you would probably just pick a better champion that could do that depending on the meta. Sometimes that could be a champion like Jinx, or even sometimes Vayne or Kog'Maw, depending on who's in favor. Or maybe your team is all peel and wants to play backwards, so maybe drafting Katarina or Yasuo would not be the greatest idea. Professional teams will often go to a pick like Braum if the enemy team drafts in a way that they have to engage, in which Braum does an excellent job of minimizing this engage and protecting priority targets. One factor that contributes to why a champion is OP in a draft is the ability for that champion to be good in either direction. Most of the time, champions that can play in either direction are good because of other factors as well, but this is a great way to understand why these champions are good. This is why so many champions picked in the B1 or R1, R2 slots are champions that can either have this level of flexibility, or they're so utterly broken in the way they play that they can compensate for revealing part of their comp. As teams reveal more and more of their cards in the draft, a big turning point is understanding when a team has committed to a certain direction and seeing what champion picks you have remaining to counter that direction and the way their team wants to play out the fights as much as possible. If the enemy team has to go in, you can draft Exodia defensive picks that maximize against that. Maybe they have good front to back, and the answer to that is either you can outrange them with poke, or even you can just draft a stronger version of that front to back. Maybe pivoting to a backline dive comp is the way to go. Hedging your cards and getting ready to pivot your comp in ways that punish the enemy is the key to strong drafts in League of Legends, and understanding direction is an excellent way to facilitate that. So that's pretty much how drafting works on a very fundamental level. There's obviously way more factors that go into this, such like champion comforts, matchups, things like that. But directional drafting is a really good mental model to kind of help organize and structure overall team comps. I hope this video was helpful to you guys, and I'll catch you in the next one. Stay fresh.